Yo, what's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Well, I do remember saying something to you guys about finding out like what's up with the chocolate and why they comparing it to candle wax. Now, this isn't that video, but this is a video about candies and chocolates and how they have like high trace amounts of metals in there, like arsenic. I think arsenic's a metal. Yeah, I mean, I never paid attention in school when it came to the periodic table of elements, so bear with me on that one. So with this video right here, we're gonna find out how much arsenic is in these candies. All right.
This right here, one Snickers bar, contains as much arsenic as Florida experts are now saying you should consume in an entire year. 1 year. A couple Musketeer bars, you just hit your annual arsenic limit. 2 Kit Kat bars, same thing. That's your entire yearly exposure to arsenic from just a couple pieces of candy. But it doesn't stop there, because this isn't just a candy problem. Florida just tested some of the most frequently bought products in the grocery store, including foods that people think of as healthy, like baby food formula and even the bread sitting in your pantry right now. And what they found is something every person needs to see before their next grocery trip. My name is Lily. I'm a certified nutrition health coach, and in today's video, we're covering Florida's new massive lab experiment. We're covering 3 things. First, the baby food crisis, what Florida is finding in the very first foods we feed our newborns, and why this matters more than most people realize. Secondly, the candy audit, how some of America's most popular candies contain so much arsenic that just a few pieces maxes out your safe exposure for an entire year. And I'll show you exactly how many pieces we're talking about. And lastly, the bread betrayal. Specifically the breads that people think are healthy, and if your so-called killer bread is actually living up to its name. And don't worry, this video is not going to be just doom and gloom. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what foods to look out for, what foods to swap, and how to take back control in your kitchen. And if you enjoy this kind of content, then don't be silly, subscribe to Lily, and let's jump in. Let me start by saying, yes, I love the sun, but I have never lived in Florida. I have no association with the state, and I say that because by the end of this video, you're probably going to think I'm a proud Floridian, and honestly, right now, I kind of am. Because what they've been doing lately is something the rest of the country should be paying attention to. Casey DeSantis, the First Lady of Florida, launched the Healthy Florida First initiative with a simple, powerful mission: find out what's actually in the food we're feeding families. And so she sent food to independent labs for testing.
Because when you really look at it, the FDA acts as a reactionary force. If there is a problem like salmonella or something contaminant, they'll come in and test and hold them accountable. But what we're trying to do is get in front of it to make sure that these toxins never wind up in the food supply to begin with. So here in Florida, we're doing it. We're reaching out to Oklahoma, to Arkansas, to Texas, to Tennessee, to Georgia. And we're saying, hey, listen, why don't we test early on, trust but verify that these companies aren't doing it, hold them accountable, and demand change that way by putting some sunlight on it.
Now, the first food category that Florida looked into was baby food. And what they found was elevated levels of arsenic in the baby formula. And now maybe you're sitting here thinking, well, Lily, I'm not a baby and I don't have kids, so why does this matter to me? Well, firstly, babies are the future, and so if our kids aren't healthy, then our future isn't healthy. But also, if baby food is the most regulated, most trusted, most carefully marketed food in the grocery store, then what does that tell you about everything else? Baby food is supposed to be the gold standard. If arsenic and lead are showing up in the food designed for the most vulnerable humans on the planet, what does that tell you about the rest of the food in the grocery store? If the gold standard is failing, the whole system is failing. And so all this to say, Florida started testing baby food.
The results were shocking. 16 of 24 formula brands had elevated levels of toxic heavy metals, including mercury, arsenic, and lead.
There are better options out there, so consumers should be empowered to be able to make the best informed.
I mean, I ain't gonna hold you. That's crazy. I had to stop that right there because I mean that's crazy as hell. You know what I mean? Like they attacking babies, man. They attacking babies, and at this point, you know, I would say it's better. Like that's why mothers should be breastfeeding. You know what I mean? Hey, look, I ain't telling y'all what to do. You see what I'm saying? But at the same token, it'd be the healthier choice to a degree because the milk is gonna be made based off of, you know, it's gonna contain whatever the mom eats. You get what I'm saying? So it's like to a degree it'd be a little bit healthier because I'm pretty sure the mother's body is gonna filter out the majority of those toxins. But yeah, man, if you are a mother that's watching this and you have a newborn, hopefully this will change your mind and you will start breastfeeding because it's for your child's best interest.
Decisions that they can based on the truth. And Harris, like you're a mom. I go into the grocery store, I walk up and down the aisles. I have to have some level of confidence that my children are not being poisoned.
Now, here's why this is especially concerning for babies. Babies are tiny, and their bodies absorb these heavy metals way faster than adults, and their organs and brains are in a very sensitive developmental window. And so a trace amount of arsenic for an adult might be a minor concern, but for a baby that's a 6-month-old, having that same formula 6 times a day, this is a massive deal.
Small repeated exposures to hidden toxins can really add up in ways we don't always see until a problem occurs. And that is especially true when it comes to babies.
Over time, that kind of exposure has been linked to developmental delays, lower IQ scores, organ stress, behavioral issues, and later in life, risks like kidney problems. And so if you're a parent right now, what do? Well, first, don't stress because that doesn't serve you or your baby, but do get informed. And so organizations like Clean Label Project and Healthy Babies Bright Futures publicly test and rank baby foods so you can make more informed choices. Then Florida, they're also posting all of their results from the worst and best foods. Their website is exposingfoodtoxins.com. And if you're able to make your own baby's food at home from single real ingredients, that's always going to be the cleanest option because you know exactly what's in it. Now, I'm not a mom yet, but this is exactly how I'll approach it. Single, real food, nutrient-dense foods like eggs packed with healthy fats and nutrients for brain development, slow soft-cooked meats, or even liver, which are incredibly rich in iron and B vitamins, salmon for omega-3s, and bone broth for minerals.
Again, she says she's not a mom yet, but the food that she's naming off, obviously your baby has to be a certain age to eat that. You know what I mean? For like the first 3-4 months, your baby is not going to be able to eat anything that she just clipped on here. You know what I mean? Maybe the bone broth, you see what I'm saying? You could sneak that joint in and whatever, but for the most part, again, you're going to have to breastfeed for your baby to get the best nutrients that the baby's supposed to have. You know what I mean? It's going to give your baby a boost in the immune system.
Honestly, when you think about it, babies thrived for thousands of years before Gerber ever existed from things like single real foods, ingredients that you can pronounce. And so that's how I'm going to approach it, by just keeping things simple. Okay, now let's move into the candy conversation because this is where things go from concerning to almost unbelievable.
The Florida Department of Health testing 46 candy products, finding 28 had elevated levels of arsenic.
Arsenic is a heavy metal, and long-term exposure has been linked to things like cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and neurological issues. And according to Florida's testing, 16 gummy bears for an entire year is enough to hit the limit for a child. 6 Jolly Ranchers, that's a kid's yearly limit. More than 1 Hershey's cookies and cream bar is over the limit for an adult. 10 Twizzlers for adults and 4 Twizzlers for kids, done for the year.
for nerds, if you're consuming more than 96 nerds, that is more than what you should be consuming in a year as it pertains to arsenic consumption. So kids aren't eating just 96 nerds. When you think about a box typically has 2,000 nerds in it, or one of those big boxes that you might get at a movie theater that has 8,000 nerds. So 96, I mean, they're going to eat more than that. And then you look at arsenic in aggregate. So you look at Twix and a Milky Way or what have you, and it starts to add up, and you're going well beyond what the Florida Department of Health would say is a safe level of arsenic, for a year.
And just to be really clear,
I mean, yeah, because it's like all these corporations, they're in cahoots together. You see what I'm saying? Like the same. All right, for instance, the candy industry is in cahoots with the doctors and the dentist industry. You're probably like, yo, what are you talking about? It's because, yo, listen, we're consuming that. You see what I'm saying? So, like they're saying, arsenic is a heavy metal. That's not the only heavy metal that's in these candies. You see what I'm saying? So eventually it's gonna get us sick, and then all the sugars and whatnot is messing with our teeth. So therefore we're gonna run to the doctors and to the dentist, and the cycle repeats. So they're all in cahoots together and stuff like that. But I mean, damn, yo, one candy bar, 6 pieces of Jolly Ranchers is enough arsenic for your annual limit. I mean, come on, man. that's insane. Like nobody eats just one candy bar a day, one candy bar a week. You know what I mean? That's wild. So we're literally getting poisoned by eating the candies and stuff like that. And then they have the nerve to, like, I don't know how much the candy costs where you guys are at, but our local corner store, Bodega, for the king size joint, they're charging $3.50, and for the regular size it's $1.75. You know what I mean? So that's crazy.
this doesn't mean you can have a few Twizzlers, a couple Kit Kat bars, some nerds. No, this is saying that just a few pieces of candy can max you out for an entire year. And if I were to eat a bag of Skittles today, I'm not going to drop dead tomorrow, but this is how things like type 2 diabetes, weight gain, irritability, mental health issues, low libido, headaches, this is how disease happens. It's slowly over time.
Listen, no American should go into the pantry and pick out a product and then be concerned if it's contaminated with arsenic. And so what we want to do is help other states, help the federal government, help lead the charge. And a lot of it is people out there watching, wanting to drive change and accountability.
Now, interestingly, not all of the candies failed. Florida found things like Reese's Peanut Butter Cups and M&M's didn't show high levels of arsenic. Now, just because they're not high in arsenic doesn't mean they don't have other issues, but if you'd like to see all of Florida's testing, then again, go to exposingfoodtoxins.com. I used to love candy myself, and now I love my life even more without it. I don't think that candy is a food. It's not nutritious, it's not healthy, and it's not necessary to be happy. And again, I know this because I had a life with candy, and now I realize I can still enjoy sweet things in life, but through nature's candies, like mangoes, pineapple, banana, honey, maple syrup, or if you give me a bowl of full-fat yogurt with some blueberries and cinnamon on top, oh yeah. Or a date with butter and honey, that right there is candy. In general,
I never tried that date. I was thinking prunes. My bad. But honey though, I get the raw honey, and it's a little pricey, but I know it's like it's candy. You know what I mean? The honey is candy. I know over in Africa and stuff like that, those tribes, they legit eat honey, like straight from the honeycomb, raw, straight honey.
there are ways to make healthy ice cream, simple brownies, and other nutritious sweet treats. I have a ton of videos on my channel with recipes, but if you don't have time to make treats at home, then I even go to the grocery store and show the better quality products that are made from more simple ingredients and are also super yummy without arsenic. Okay, let's talk about bread. Florida's been testing many brands, and several breads have been coming back positive for glyphosate, including Dave's Killer Bread, one of the most popular breads in America. organic, whole grain, non-GMO, and yet regardless, it's still tested positive for glyphosate, the active ingredient in Roundup weed killer, classified by the World Health Organization as a probable carcinogen. And even though the amount of glyphosate detected in Dave's Killer Bread was significantly less than in Wonder Bread, regardless, health-conscious people are spending extra money on Dave's, thinking it's the best, when there were actually other breads tested and came back with 0 glyphosate, including brands like Artisano and Farmhouse. Now, I want to be clear that I don't think the people behind Dave's Killer Bread are evil, or that if you eat one sandwich, then it's going to hurt you. I just want to bring more awareness behind the organic certification that doesn't guarantee there's 0 glyphosate residue. And here's why the bread category is so much more important than the candy when it comes to cumulative exposure. Most people aren't having a Snickers bar for breakfast, and yet bread, that's like an American staple. Many people are having bread at breakfast with their toast, they're having sandwiches for lunch, they're having rolls for dinner. And so if glyphosate residue is present in your bread, you're getting a dose multiple times a day, every day for 365 days in a year. And glyphosate exposure has been linked to things like gut microbiome disruption, hormonal disruption, inflammation, and liver and kidney stress. And so what does this mean for your bread? Well, some smaller local bakeries using heritage grains, that can be a great option. Or I know it's a big ask, but even making your own sourdough bread at home from simple ingredients like flour, water, and salt. That way you know there's no glyphosate going in there, there's no mystery ingredients, and it truly is fermented in the most traditional sense. Florida is doing something really brave by testing these food products and publishing their results to the public, because what gets measured gets managed. And when we demand more transparency, then these food corporations end up changing their food products. And we're already starting to see them remove the artificial food dyes, change their recipes. And I think this is a huge sign of our power in the way in which, when we ask more questions and demand transparency, we finally get to get healthier food again. And one other thing I wanted to give Florida a round of applause for is they have become one of the first states to ban the production and sale of lab-grown meat.
Take your fake lab-grown meat elsewhere. We're not doing that in the state of Florida.
That's the message behind the bill Governor DeSantis signed Wednesday. It takes aim at meat grown by scientists in a lab, making it a crime to manufacture or sell cultivated meat in Florida.
So while other states are still debating whether a chicken nugget grown in a laboratory bioreactor qualifies as food, Florida's like, no thank you, keep that over there. And I just think that is amazing. I personally don't eat bread, but I do have ways that I can make a healthy bread. Usually it has nothing to do with flour, but regardless, if you're someone who wants to hear more about the cons to bread, while you may want to rethink eating bread altogether, but also the healthier versions to buy in the stores and how to make a healthier bread alternative in your home, then check this video out right here. Don't be silly, subscribe to Lily, and I hope you have a happy day.
So with that being said, I do agree with what's her name, Lily Kane. I do agree with her to an extent, because at the end of the day, you know what I mean, like, even if we was to get, you know, the flour to make our own sourdough bread, we're still using basically the same flour they use to make the bread in the businesses or corporations anyway, because the flour is bleached and enriched, whether it's in the full loaf of bread or is coming in the flour bag. So either way it goes, you know what I mean, we're gonna be eating enriched, bleached flour. So also, you know what I mean, the best way to do it is to go to your local farms, your local butcher, the farmer's market, and all that stuff. You know, I get it, we don't have time to do all that with the ripping and running to rob Peter and pay Paul type deal, you know what I mean, but something's gonna eventually have to give. You know what I mean? We either gonna keep eating this food that's slowly harming us, or we're gonna have to take matters in our own hand, and we're gonna have to start doing things the way it's supposed to be done, the right way, you know. So I mean, I can't speak for y'all, but I can speak for myself. I mean, I'm gonna try to do that. I'm gonna get more, you know, active as far as like, you know, where the farmer market is, where I live. You know, I do know there is a chicken farm a couple miles north of here for, you know, for me, so I don't have to go to the store and buy these, you know, eggs anymore, because I don't know, they say farm raised, and they say pasture raised, and they say cage free and all that, but yo, listen, we not at the farm, we don't know what they doing, you know what I mean? But with that being said, I'm not gonna, you know, drag it much longer, because I don't really like making long videos, because I don't think you guys want to watch long videos. But yeah, man, with that being said, until the next time, if y'all like this video, y'all already know, I ain't gotta say it, y'all know, hit the thumbs up and stuff like that. I'm not gonna say it every video, but with that being said, man, thanks for tuning into the video, and until next time, deuces.